Yalla, infidels here, back early morning, Ultra Kayfabe Declassified Friday Locker Room, Thursday taping, YouTube, Mr. OVW channel, and Hamin Media Group channel, and it's great. It starts with an earthquake, infidels, resistance bands and aeroplanes. Big Stevie Cool is not afraid until we get to these headlines here on your Friday Locker Room. Yalla. Yeah, man. We were practicing our arm bars and any other type of submission we could get in last night as we take a big breath of black oxygen and welcome Pat Miletich to the Conspiracy Horsemen. Wow, what an awesome show. Thanks to Blake Troop for hooking that up in like 24 hours before the show as he was at the Capitol building during all the rioting or protesting or as they're saying now, they want to be considered media. So I find all that hilarious as it all falls down. But, man, what a great night last night, dude. I really enjoyed myself. How you doing this morning, Stevie?
Doing great. We're going through a trend of hopefully having guests on to break it up a little bit because sometimes it gets pretty exhausting for us, and I'm sure the people that watch and listen that we're just kind of going around trying to figure this out. But to get boots on the ground, like literally probably Pat Miletich, and then next week having another guest on kind of going outside the box with more of a, I guess, a Gaia type approach to what's going on in the universe. That'll be a very interesting episode as well. I want to bring this up really quick because I know you'll get to the censorship and all the stuff that's been going on over the past week. Interesting thing, and this is the Tim Cook $100 million slush fund is what you call it.
Is it not?
And being the conspiracy guys that we are, how many times do you think we type Big Brother in our text messages, our Facebook Messenger, or anything else between us? Not even publicly. Pretty much a lot, right?
Every day there's a 1984 Orwell reference, at least one or two or three or four.
So there's supposed to be AI autocorrect according to how much you type certain words and autocorrect or autocomplete, right? An experiment. I was typing this morning with my buddy talking about Big Brother, and it always autocorrects over the past couple weeks to Bug Bigger. It's a programmed, I never type Bug Bigger, but they're now censoring your text messages to try to prevent you or put up obstacles for you to stop typing these particular words. Don't say you can't go in, flip a switch, program the algorithm or the AI to do anything that you want, because this is controlled.
Right. We get pushed off from our Twitch contact, our first one anyway, to, go fight the DMCA, strike yourself. I can't do, dude. You can flip a switch. Don't give me that.
So that's what that guy said?
Yeah. So I got to go do the appeals through them. And then when that comes back bullshit, we'll go over his head to John Carnage and do what we have to do. But, we have to play everything out. Maybe, if Callus gets a hold of AT&T, we can change Big Brother and it'll just be Good Brother. Good Brother is watching all the time.
Yeah. Well, then there'll be a lot more politics at AT&T. Everybody's friends will get a job.
I wish there's a little more machine gunka going on over there at AT&T. That'd be a lot better look for everybody. Oh man, but we are 19 strong already out of the gate here on YouTube. Appreciate you guys as we are banned on Twitch still, both Hamin Media Group channel, thank you, Conspiracy Horseman channel. So to follow us over here onto YouTube, which you never thought YouTube would be the bastion for us to the island to land on right now as we continue to pioneer alternative services and find out what the best model going forward in 2021 is going to be for us. We got to operate in the ghettos, unfortunately, but in the ghetto,
we're just not considered to be conservatives to them yet. They're not quite sure about probably 143 on the list of ones they're banning right now. So they'll get to us soon enough. I was going to say too that they're saying Bug Bigger is watching or all that. I'm thinking about now a whole new line of T-shirts at our pro wrestling tee store, like Bug Bigger. No, Bug Bigger, like 9148, like because they'll autocorrect that. It's actually a pretty good T-shirt, isn't it?
And then you can take Bug Bigger, and if indies come back, you can go work. He's not open anymore, I guess. So what's the one with all the weird gimmicks? Chikara. You could be Bug Bigger.
I could work Marty the Moth, and I could be Bug Bigger, and we can have a state. Hey, but I'm telling you, this is something in all seriousness. As much as we joke, we may have to find an alternative free speech type of language that the algorithm and these people can't even interpret.
Carney.
It's going to be like Carney.
Yeah. Yeah, well, Tizok, all that shit, isn't it? I see some people. Double A is in the house already. A. Andrezen, Rat Salad Review. My man Brendo's here. Buckshot Kid, the big butcher himself, is cutting up some meat this morning. Ken Sorrell and Paul F. Y'all. Bernie DC, hopefully, if you're down in DC, man, 20,000 troops. I go on Drudge Report. It says, reminiscent of Civil War 1860, like scenes reminiscent of Civil War 1860. I go, reminiscent? This is that, and they have pictures of, hundreds of soldiers just bunked out on the Capitol floor, bro. So as we predicted, more knuckle up and bloodshed, because you don't bring your swords out unless you're going to use them. And
they could have used those troops in Portland, Chicago, Philadelphia, Seattle, which, by the way, they're still occupying in Portland and Seattle, I think, aren't they? Isn't Seattle still a thing?
I think they broke it down, but I'm sure the remnants of whatever stupid little thing they want to do next is going to fucking rise up there that way. Some people are asking, hey, I only see myself. Well, I'm double broadcasting here, Mr. OVW, Ben Hamin channel, as well as the Hamin Media Group channel. So if you don't see everybody in the chat room at the Hamin Media Group, if you're watching there, they're probably over on Ben Hamin YouTube as well. So just back up to the backup and doing the hard count here on my own computer. So you never know, man. We just got to be super weary, especially in this last week of insane censorship.
First week.
First week. Yeah.
Here's my question. I asked it last night with, and once again, Pat Miletich was great. I hope we can do some crossover stuff, be on the conspiracy farm, and get a path to people like him, Eddie Bravo, his co-host, who, he's very gracious to say he's even more intelligent than him. I hope this opens up a whole new co-op, people, like-minded people really coming together we need each other more than ever. Free thinkers, critical thinkers. As wrong or as right as you might be, you should have the right to be as wrong as you want to think or talk or anything. Free speech is for, Jesse Ventura used to say it. He seems to have changed his tune. Free speech used to be for unpopular speech, not popular speech. So I wonder if he still thinks that way. But I was going to say, as I said last night, the Democrats, the left, the radical left, whatever you want to call them, control the presidency, the House, the Senate, local government to an extent, state government to an extent. Okay, so after January 20th, why should you bother if there's protest or this reparations march? If all these things are happening, who's the boogeyman? Who's the bad guy? Trump is now persona non grata.
Mm-hmm.
So who are you going to blame now? Because that's been the playbook. We saw the playbook from Pelosi. We saw the playbook throughout the years. Their safety net, their golden goose to never, ever, ever do anything. What if there's no $2,000 checks on January 21st? What are you going to, this is what I mean. If you thought it was bad, if you thought these people will never turn on you, well, once again, they need a war to fight. They need a boogeyman as well. They'll eat their own each and every time while we develop a free speech economy, a free speech platform, while the conservatives, as you want to call them, because you want to put labels on them, the demographics and the stats that we look at as businessmen, conservatives buy, SJWs and liberals complain. The conservatives are basically, I'm just putting it as what we've seen and experienced as businessmen. You can convert way more sales with conservatives than you can with liberals. Is that a fact?
Absolutely. Conservatives don't need fancy marketing. They need real reviews, quality product service, and then the interaction of customer service. The others are just flashing and acting like something's going on, but they really don't have the foundation to build and grow a life. So product, of what they're buying brand loyalty wise, they'll buy any dumb shit. They'll bitch about whatever and buy the cheapest Chinese shit while, local consumers are destroyed. Meanwhile, Hamin Media Group, even locally, cross-promoting Broster's Coffee with Dippin' Donuts, available at Dippin' Donuts. Like 2 local brands, one that we've helped, 2 that we've really helped taking global, with ZordosOliveOil.com sale being owned by Dippin' Donuts. So appreciate that. But that's the difference of taking a small dream global or just, I'm going to go for lowest price piece of shit. And there's a definite demographic that does one, and there's a definite demographic that does the other.
Well, how's Demetrius and his family holding up? Did all that stuff die down?
I don't know.
It's talking about it off camera, but I'm just wondering.
It's all in the hands of lawyers, and they have great ones. And
I mean, just the general bad, the people trying to sabotage the customers.
They got too much on their plate right now. Although the SJW BLM white kids with fucking green and purple hair went away because the Trump rallies aren't going on right now, or the local
because they're lazy, and if they just don't get instant gratification.
That's it.
I wanted to say this is the difference too. The kid give a wrestling analogy to this. Because the AEW kind of considers themselves to be fully woke, SJW, even though they try that, they do the same 1920s carny promoter shit that anybody else does, right? So remember what they said? We're satisfied with 1 million people. Where Russo, as that generation, is saying we need to rate. It's the difference between mentalities and business minds of saying, yeah, we're satisfied with this. We're okay if we just keep it at 1 million. Where Russo's like, I want to get the 7, 8 million, 10 million back to watching wrestling. Mm-hmm. That's what we think too. We're more of a Russo era guy, or even if you look at a Cornette era guy, Cornette wouldn't be satisfied with 1 million people.
No. Not especially when he knew the potential or where they were. Absolutely not. I see some people, Bernie DC, Brett LaGrave, see it this morning, not getting that notification. Shocker that they're going to, put us shadow ban wise. So right now, everybody go over on that MROVW channel and Hamin Media Group to do the extra thing, not just subscribe, whatever fucking bell you need to push to be double notified, because they're going to keep fucking us. They're going to push us off this this platform. We're going to be here's the Hamin Nostradamus for you. We will be pushed off YouTube, demonetized, and have to go seek our own servers or go to a new subscription service that is not yet over in the mainstream. That's where I see from it's getting cloudy. I can't see the future anymore. Oh, well, Stevie, something happened there.
Yeah, I know. You look like Nostradamus from the I Watch the History Channel. We should do some sort of parody of the future that looks incredibly like the present and the past for the future.
You can get us going with the bands. We'll do some squat trains instead.
That's squat trains. The 4 squat trains.
Yeah.
Oh, don't worry. Flat Earth, flat abs is still in the back of my mind. I haven't forgotten about you people either. Well, I'm looking at this and I'm going, even though this is the difference too, we will get the workflow down, as tedious as it would be and as clunky or as many obstacles. Even if we have to start up MailChimp and email you a half hour before we go on the air and give you the link manually, we will do it. As long as you subscribe to a newsletter, you get some sort of notification of some sort. We'll go to text message alerts. If we can find a text service to deliver it, that's why I believe the new Apple update here, many people said it shuts off emergency messages. And I believe that's so Trump cannot speak to people, because he was going to use that, or at least that was the rumor. And the new update shuts those down. Why would they all of a sudden do that?
Because we're in Stasi level propaganda where they scream Nazi at everybody else, but every move they make echoes complete fucking socialist.
That's where Hitler goes, hey, wait a minute, guys, slow down, right?
He's like, come on, guys, you're going a little fast here.
Yeah, geez, man, I thought I was bad.
Yeah,
and you look at this too, like these are the analogies too. I said it last night. The people that had to suffer through the Holocaust, the 6 million, and then however many had to survive it. That's only 6 million people that got killed. Mm-hmm. The 6 million, let's call it 12 million, double it or even triple it to 18, 20 million. They're talking about going after every single person that voted for Trump, which is upwards of 75 million people. And then we didn't even vote. We didn't vote. I didn't vote at all because I don't vote for the lesser of two evils.
And how are they doing it in real time? We talked about it. I don't want to Stooge's business, but look at Triple D and Dippin' Donuts. That you want to talk about a vindictive, calculated attack where they went at them media-wide through the media, they went at them through the social justice warriors, and then they went at them through the IRS. It's a three, like when Nancy Pelosi laid out their smear campaign, that is their three-pronged attack on get back on anybody, bro.
The thing with this though is 75 million that actually, and Georgia was saying, they said something in commercials that my wife and I were, holy shit. They were like, we don't necessarily know who you voted for, but we know you voted. So it's kind of like a 1984 kind of reverse psychology, meaning we do know who you voted for, and we know you better vote right, for who you vote for. But 75 million are only the people that have registered to vote in one way or another and are on the books.
Mm-hmm.
Double that for the people like us who say, hey, I just don't want to pay 62% in total tax or whatever. You're a Trump supporter. Now let's double that to 150 million, which is about half the population, that you can go on this Gestapo type of blitzkrieg, let's use the terms,
sure.
And you can go after anybody. Listen, the Pelosi playbook of smearing. You're guilty until you say, I have the evidence to say that I didn't say that. No, it doesn't matter. You're still guilty, and you're proven guilty, and it doesn't matter if you're innocent because you're still guilty. The court of public opinion. When they say, we're going to go back and look at everything you've ever done or every selfie, like Pat Miletich, how many selfies did we take at conventions and shows with people that they could go back and then say, this person deserves to lose their job. This person deserves to starve. We need a list. AOC, we need a list. I know she's young, but she had to read at least one history book about lists back in the day.
Maybe she's making a list like Cody of the top 10 people she wants to face in 2020.
That's also a great t-shirt. Bug Brother coming soon.
All
bigger, sorry.
Bigger brand as we get that trademarked before Vince does. I mean, great.
3350.
But again, last night, you guys, I took it and made it unlisted. I want to make sure we make our release dates on Fridays, not giving away info. Like if you're running a network, shows need to be there on a certain time, and I try not to miss them. So Friday morning, that'll be released. UFC Hall of Famer, possibly the greatest MMA coach of all time, from ruthless Robbie Lawler to Matt Hughes, as well as his own championships, the Pat Miletich fighting system, Miletich protest system. I'm glad he popped for that. I got him last night, but what a great guest, and give us clarity of how things were on the ground there, as opposed to this MSM. However they want to set up Theater of the Absurd. And Conspiracy Farm, you guys, give them a follow on Rockfin. That's another platform we got to check out. Hopefully we'll find out the ownership and whatnot, because if they're just pulling off Parler off of Amazon, well, how many server farms are there where free speech can be hosted without being affected or not being a black op to create new lists? So I put over a blog saying Trump's going to have a tough time starting his own media campaign, but Stevie laid out a great, fan supported, $5 a month Patreon style model. And I definitely switched my views on what, I wouldn't think I had a hard stance on it, but that blog was convincing. But again, in this ever-changing media landscape, these old fucks who own the big properties can never keep up with us, because we're out in front. As they try and chew us up, we go someplace else and new opportunities arise. So we appreciate you guys sticking with us, as if we have to stick and move, float like a butterfly, sting like a sting. We're going to have to.
Sting like a sting.
Sting like a bug bigger.
Show up and everybody.
Yeah. And paint our faces so they can't see us on cam. So, Steve Areno, are you ready?
Absolutely not.
You had a nice week off. We appreciate Strangler Steve King filling in last week, man. Always a great time to have the Strangler aboard 2CW. good brother and, Killer Kowalski guy through and through. So all kinds of knowledge to drop on the veteran locker room. And we always like catching up. But he's got the roofers over there this morning. So hopefully everything's going well.
The roof fund didn't work for him, did it?
No, the church didn't come through with the cash. And Spangler Steve had to come out of pocket.
I was looking forward to having him on. It would have been great for the three of us to do this. I think it would have been very symbiotic and it would have been cool. So hopefully next week, I'd like to make that a 3-man thing as long as it's convenient for him.
He was super pumped. He's like, "Oh man, I wish I could." He goes, "But right now I have to cut a 6-figure check to some roofers." Somebody who got checked though on the headlines to kick it off. Are you ready? We may have him I'm hoping to book him for the 27th because we had Pat last night. Next week we have Jenny Lease. Like Stevie said, kind of a Gaia-esque. She is somewhat conservative, but very into the culture of mysticism. So I think that'll be a cool guest and a break away from things. And then the big bell
for the worst pitch ever. Yeah, what's her name? That broad.
That broad she knows her stuff.
Way to go, pop it on.
So good. He doesn't disappoint, man. What are you gonna do?
But you said a name that's been kayfabing us for years.
Yeah. So he's been going back and forth with MSG. And it's just when he has to be at his own store, the weed store, I guess, to manage. But he almost came on 2 weeks ago, but got called in last minute. He and I have been in a little contact because he's been going off on Twitter. You guys know it. And he's been shadow banned and speaking out and ostracized by a lot of SJWs. But Val Venus, the big Valboski himself, Captain Cannabis, briefly blocked by Twitter for violating, quote, child sexual exploitation policy. The former two-time Intercontinental Champion Val Venus, real name Sean Morley, was temporarily blocked by Twitter earlier this week for violating the social media platform's, quote, child exploitation policy. According to Venus, his account was blocked because he shared evidence of Hunter Biden, the son of U.S. President-elect Joe Biden, molesting children, including Malia Obama, the daughter of former U.S. President Barack Obama. This is not the first time Venus has shared the wild conspiracy theories on his social media accounts. He previously called The Rock and Arnold Schwarzenegger traitors who sold out America to communist China. After Val Venus's account was unblocked earlier Tuesday, he shared screenshots of Twitter blocking and later unblocking his account. Val Venus revealed that his Facebook account has also been blocked for 30 days. Says, quote, last night I shared evidence of Hunter Biden fucking children, including coke snorting Malia Obama. The sheep, of course, refused to accept the facts. Twitter acknowledged these facts, and I threatened to suspend my account if I did not delete these pics. And then he put Twitter protects pedos, and then they unlocked. He says, I'm back, but not for long, you Twitter commies. The question remains, why has Hunter Biden not been arrested for raping children? Where are these so-called hero cops we keep hearing about? Love it. And of course, leftist pedo enablers refuse to admit Biden is a pedo, even with the facts. So let's take the old man just on the fucking sniff tests alone that he does on camera on 10-year-olds and younger to all women, really, with the hand on the hip weirdness and just invasion of space. I mean, this is some sexual dysfunction. Then crack pipe pictures of Hunter Biden with Lady Gaga in the background smoking crack. I saw what Val shared. It is a disturbingly young 8-year-old dressed like Carmella is dressed now on SmackDown in fucking fishnets and lingerie. And yeah, it's disturbing, these images. Absolutely. Then there's another one with like a 10 to 13-year-old girl on her knees giving head to Hunter Biden. So, and that one may be even related to him. I haven't seen the Malia Obama one smoking crack, but none of that shit surprises me at all. And yet here we are worried about fucking a guy dressed with bull horns and his face painted like American Ultimate Warrior is the main fucking story, dude. Val can go hard in the paint, and he's been kind of on his own in the wind and really pushing the hardline conspiracies that we touch on plenty of times on the Horseman. And like we said, if we have to form a conglomerate, well, it's all voices, no matter how loud or how many caps you type in. The fact is, Val's not just going out there to show this shit for salacious reasons. we are men, workers in the world who've had enough, and here's the evidence, but the fucking MSM gets to control the conversation about some fucking bullshit that's a complete setup when they know here's the evidence. The son of the president is, or like we said last night, Kamala and the rest of them are waiting. So once they're in office, they can get rid of the Bidens, and boom, here comes the fucking women's brigade backed by Hillary Clinton as a fucking power player, Pelosi, and the Ugandan giant herself.
This could definitely be Hillary's presidential run in the background. Remember, Obama famously said that he could run for a third term if he could be the guy in the background, giving the lip service to the guy who shares the views, which could be Biden. So there could be an Obama or Hillary presidency once again, or a Clinton one in the White House, or Pelosi. They're all going to eat their own. Like we said, Pelosi's could be like, this is the time to make my move. And then I could be vice president, and then Kamala could be the figurehead president, but she's going to do what I tell her to do. It's all very incestuous, literally incestuous in some ways. If we're talking about so Val shared these things, this laptop, which basically did that guy who the computer repair shop guy, did he end up dead? There was a rumor going around that he ended up.
I'm not sure if he did or not. I know he said he had backup to the backups on that stuff, but
if the backup to the backup,
I'm going to look right here.
Oh, okay. 1994 crime bill. It sounds like a great idea. You were against gay marriage. Sounds like a great idea. That's what I was going to get some clips of Hillary, Obama, and Biden saying they were against gay marriage. And I was going to touch back on the Tim Cook thing. They came out as gay. So these are the people you support who basically didn't come around to supporting this. And then Trump in his own goofy old man New York City way goes, it's not my thing. I like girls. Hey, it's great if they want to do it, but I'm into girls. Like, that's wrong for him to say because it doesn't sound politically.
Meanwhile, the old weird witches cabal that has been exposed since she was in Arkansas governoress, where she would go to California to go out to build or Bohemian Grove-esque places in Northern California to dance in the moonlight. I'm talking Hillary Clinton here. This shit is fucking documented by her own security. Okay, we've had the guests on that say she was evading. What was it, Opperman? When he was on of her evading security to go partake in these lesbian orgies in Northern California. You think that fucking Ugandan giant and Pelosi aren't all a part of that, and that they haven't colluded to set these guys up, set them up for the kiss of the Black Widow? I got to write that down. We're going home with kiss of the Black Widow. From
the Media M5 says that the guy is still alive. He's in hiding. Well, we just assume with the pattern he's dead by now. You know, we just assume that.
Black Widow.
So what we're looking at too is Val shared. I didn't see his tweets because I'm not really on Twitter anymore. Mm-hmm. He shared tweets with photos of these incriminating photos. The Lady Gaga crack pipe thing is kind of interesting how that went down. And
the little girl in lingerie is so I mean, it's like watching one of those fucking weird pageant shows, and now they're bringing them out in fucking
like the John Benet Ramsey type shit.
It's that level of a little girl in complete fishnets and garter belt, dude, and he holding the hand, and it's off his stuff, you know. And if it is, and even if it isn't, you know, where are these images coming from, and why are accounts being taken down based on a child abuse act? Oh, really? Does this directly link back to where did he have to go to get that? I know, because I looked at the China releases of the Hunter Biden stuff where everything is in, forgive me, Mandarin or Cantonese. I'm not.
I should read that for us.
You know, but then I did all of the translations, and then here's picture after picture. And I saw both of those pictures that he shared that last week, 2 months ago when it dropped, you know what I mean? In these deep Reddit threads. So all he's doing is bringing where we go down these conspiracy holes to, we have to go to some China leaks from some, you know, anti-communist workers over there trying to get stuff out. Maybe it's a CIA op working with them. Who knows? But here it is, because this stuff, and once it hits the mainstream, oh no, the person who shares it's done. not the information, and let's start shaping something up as we go into it and claim we have a higher moral ground. So hats off to Val Venus always, especially on the weed front, fighting for everything. I hope he becomes, even more wealthy off of that. But the fact that, he is at ground zero, and maybe he doesn't deal with the blowback as well, but he doesn't have to. He can act any way that he wants to, but hopefully we can link up here maybe on the 27th and get him on the Horseman and have a right to censor reunion.
It's well, I don't know if he'd ever want that, but with and I don't know if I'm in the Rumble yet, so there's your spoiler. It's a yearly thing anymore. I think after we have Val on, I will not be in the Rumble.
Well, if COVID hits
the Royal Rumble,
if COVID hits this week after a Drew and Goldberg outbreak, you might actually be winning the Royal Rumble in a dress, pal. Yeah.
They're going to try. No, they'll be like, we can try to kill him with this COVID. We can finally get this motherfucker after all these years. See if we can age him. Even though I got this deal right here. I want to, here's the whole thing. This is a very Matrix-like mentality with people. They don't want to unplug from the Matrix. They don't want to listen. If there's nothing to see here, this is a worker talking. These are two workers telling you right now. And Val is also an ultimate worker. When you suppress something, when you block somebody, when you try to deplatform, deperson, unperson, but turn them into, you try to starve them out. As workers, you know what we say? That guy's got to be telling the truth. Why would they go to these lengths?
Right.
Try to shut him down.
Yep.
You don't know how to work.
They don't.
The way you de-radicalize people is to let them blow. Like if I'm standing here and you're mad at me, I'm going to let you vent to me. I'm going to let you get it all out, and then we can have a conversation, or you can calm down. But if I shut you up from the very get-go, what's it going to do? Piss you off even more. These people on that side, or the institutionalized old media people, as you call them, they do not know how to work. They do not hire the right agencies, the right PR and marketing. They, if for anything, as a truly just impartial thing, because these people are truly evil. But if you wanted to look at it as a business, these people are doing the worst kind of business you can do, because you're only radicalizing Val and everybody else even more.
Yeah, they're silencing moves, radicalize, and make people suspect of, why are you shutting this guy down who looks like a nutcase? If you were gonna platform him, that's gonna reinforce all of him being like, well, why did they do that? And they just like, well, that's against our policy. Well, we know your policies are bullshit. If they really wanted to get him, they'd take 3 or 4 trolls and fucking create propaganda to show that picture is photoshopped and it's not real, even though it is, I believe, to be real, to try and dispel that. Then you'd have 2 or 3 other people just making Val triggered and going back and forth to make him look even crazier. Instead, silencing him makes him look completely right, in my opinion, dude.
I agree. And unfortunately, it's a lot easier to accept the comfortable lie than to look into the uncomfortable truth.
Yeah. I think
Bug Bigger coming back strong. Bug Bigger,
baby.
Title for the episode too.
I think by by April, we're gonna have these moves against Hunter Biden, and it is gonna be a setup from the witches of Eastwick to fucking do a power grab.
Well, at least the government will be shut down 4 days a month.
What else is shutting down is my Google Chrome right now, because Wrestle Stink has way too many ads and way too many pundits who don't know what the fuck they're talking about. So just waiting on that to come back up.
What do you think the next thing for Val? You know, it's fortunate that he has a niche where there's many people in these cigar shops like Deep Thoughts Radio, Mark Lowe, who I wish we would get on soon. He's an amazing YouTuber. Also very high thinker and high intellect. But Val is in a niche, I would hope, that with the cannabis community, where you can sit around and talk about these things and have open minds to some degree. So I would hope what
he does more than anything is open people's minds and bring them together with an undertone of love, but speaking truths. You might go down some weird fucking roads when people are stoned, but that weed tells the fucking truth, man. Believe me.
What I'm saying is, I don't want Val. I hope it enhances his ability over there to enhance there. Maybe he's got the B12 vaccine too. I hope it only enhances his ability to make profit and make money and make a living, rather than, because that's what we're looking at. Is Val in kind of a niche of a free speech economy with the cannabis stuff? That's what we're looking at too, and other people in Militich, the free speech, critical thinking, open economy where
you're dealing with alternatives. You're dealing with black market people who have to go legit. So there's a corporate struggle with that, but at the same time, real weed heads know that how much bullshit you have to go through to get a bag, or used to it sometimes, or still do, depending on what state you are in. And that there's just like this underground of cool people who are put under somebody's thumb because fucking Philip Morris hasn't figured out a way to get their 70 billion out of the fucking weed industry yet, and nobody else can fucking be a mom and pop startup and then do the Walmart takeover of 1991 that they fucking like. They just want to jump the mom and pop startup shit instead of letting it fucking develop a real community. No, it's got to be all our greed. All that. So the weed industry is absolutely changing, and that Grateful Dead hop in my van brother experience will be going by the wayside in a lot of ways. Well, not for real heads, but what's going to be introduced is the Moscato moms are all going to be fucking smoking that Gorilla Glue. So,
I just want to interrupt you. Media M5, he's got some good stuff in the chat today. I haven't touched Opera in a while, but he said the new Opera browser is legit, and it has a built-in VPN, so you don't have to pay the $10 a month unless we get an ad for them. but it's just really, man. When people say use DuckDuckGo or whatever, I'm so suspect about that because they said stop using Google. I'm just feeling like you said the server farms have to be based on Amazon or Google or something. So it's Coke and Sprite and 7-Up and all these other things.
All coming out of the same fucking pipeline with a little different coloring in it, you guys. I love Firefox, Opera, all these things that give us the false sense of hope. At the end of the day, I worked for fucking Fiber Instrument Sales. I know your information is going out in light packets and where it's going through via cell tower. Believe me, there's plenty of interrupters, and not Opera, Firefox, or any fucking brand that is on your desktop now is protecting any of your information as far as where it goes back to. And I don't even believe VPNs are fucking doing that too, because it's going to trigger a VPN and they're just going to go backwards through it and trace it right to where it fucking came from, and then flip the switch off of that as well. But
out of PayPal before I get banned.
So man, like, I appreciate all that, but at the end of the day, they're fooling you with illusion of choice. I know the ins and outs of CIPRI low cell towers with 5G and how they came through. And if you think downloading anything from the App Store is going to fucking protect you, I got a bridge to sell you. Yesterday, WWE announced a couple days ago, that Drew McIntyre was tested positive for COVID-19. McIntyre would later address fans on Raw and assure he would still wrestle Goldberg at the Royal Rumble. It was reported after WWE's announcement that WWE and AEW and Impact Wrestling are affected by this latest COVID outbreak. On today's edition of Observer, Dave Meltzer confirmed 3 more positive cases of people that have just recovered from COVID. This would make a total of 4 positive COVID-19 cases in WWE thus far, including McIntyre. Meltzer said that one case on SmackDown where that talent was scheduled on the show but has now been taken off. There was one case involving a big star, a bug bigger star, that has now returned after testing positive, that has gone through quarantine. And there is one case in NXT. Meltzer also noted there are many more absences, mainly due to contact tracing. In regards to McIntyre, the belief is that he tested positively shortly before this week's episode of Raw, most likely the day before on Sunday, as all talent personnel are required to test before the show. The belief also is that it is unlikely that people like Hulk Hogan, Jimmy at 67, Jimmy Hart 78, and Goldberg 54 are in immediate danger of contacting the virus. While McIntyre stated he has no symptoms, Meltzer said that he had mild symptoms. Oh, they got to put it over. No, there's no way that Hogan, Hart, and Goldberg. No, that's definitely not it. after they named 3 possible names. I mean, you called this right out of the gate on Raw, on Russo's Raw and SmackDown review.
I don't know. How can you have no symptom COVID and then mild? You had another theory. We'll talk about it briefly again, but subscribe to Realm Network and Patreon. You'll get more deeper, on that. We'll talk about Bug Bigger, unfiltered and uncensored. But what we're looking at here is you basically had the worst timing because you had Drew announce he has COVID to some degree, no matter what it is, asymptomatic, no symptoms. But you literally had him on camera with two men well over 50 years old, and one that's well over 60 in the exact vulnerable group that they're trying to keep away. And that's why supposedly these quarantines and the vaccines here for a guy like Hogan. Then you have Ric Flair on the show, which I'm assuming Drew McIntyre hugged Ric Flair and greeted him with respect and showed him attention throughout the day. Then you have Vince himself. Bruce is 50 or 60 years old. Who else do you have in the backstage area that's that age?
Definitely all hugging because they miss Pat, and they probably haven't been together since then, so they want a good brother in case this is the last time that they get to see each other and that kind of shit too.
So if everything is to be believed about the amount of transmission and how contagious this virus is, you can, I said it on Russo, you can conceivably have an empty roster by next Monday or by the time the Royal Rumble comes around. That's why you made that joke earlier, because this,
as I'm saying, you could be over in the Rumble. Let's get it going.
Jericho said he had no symptom COVID in September. But why are you saying you had it in September and telling us in January when AEW is supposed to be the promotion that's so transparent?
Was Jericho off TV that week?
If he wasn't on TV, it might have been around the time of the dance steak dinner thing. But if he wasn't, he was doing commentary an awful lot, which means he's around 2 guys that are in their 50s and 60s.
Well, he didn't have a concussion, so he's fine. Charlotte Flair.
Make sure this is there. You go.
Thanks. Charlotte Flair lashes out over column on heat she receives. WWE Women's Tag Team Champ Charlotte Flair took to Twitter late last night and lashed out over a column written about how she's booked and heat she receives from fans. Flair noted that she probably should have just blocked the article and kept scrolling, but she believes words matter. So when she went ahead with the response, the article was, "Does Charlotte Flair deserve the hate she gets?" And the caption reads, "Charlotte Flair catches a lot of heat for how WWE books her. She said, I should just scroll block this garbage, but words matter. So I'll take a few moments to educate you, since both a human and I would assume an editor would allow this bullshit to sully Al Gore's internet," Flair wrote. Flair then defended the time off. Like, hold on. Like, what the fuck is she even trying to put over there with sully Al Gore's internet? Okay. Flair then defended the time off she's had and said she doesn't see a similar article where a male superstar is knocked for taking off time and returning to a title chase. Oh, yeah? Have you ever seen everything about Goldberg, Randy Orton, Triple H in the history? Even Reigns and Rollins, or Shawn Michaels, blank. I have taken time off 3 times while I was on the main roster. First time when my dad was sick. Second time was a 6-week injury that was followed up by an 18 months of staring at lights to help create a star. Barry and Ronda Rousey. Third time is now, or Becky Lynch maybe. Third time is now. What exactly is the move that I'm avoiding? I keep looking for the article where you trash one of the male champions for taking time off and being inserted back in the title picture. Didn't find one. Shocking. Wonder why. Rolling eye emoji. Flair ended her response by pointing to show how she will always be in the title picture because of how good she is. I'm in the title picture and I'll always be in the title picture. It's one of those unfortunate side effects of excelling at something you wouldn't understand. Wow, just fucking bukkyaking everything she can do over there. I'll go to it. You are in the title picture because you're not over with character. Yeah, belts are for guys who can't get over with character. So keep believing the hype of that belt is the shining light of all that shit. That to me, that does the opposite. But here we are, somebody trying to show how smart they are with an Al Gore's internet reference, meanwhile being triggered in a fucking SJW men versus women's revolution where she actually bought into the hype via Stephanie that there was a women's evolution revolution, only until we need to zoom in on your box while you're about to do a fucking moonsault, because that's the only thing that really draws fucking ratings is sex appeal for the women, to be honest with you. Nobody's out here to see work rate. So now that fucking veil has dropped of the empowerment, because that was nothing more than a corporate push, whether they took LGBTQ causes, women's fucking causes, and now as we're seeing through Apple, $100 million slush fund for minority fucking righteousness initiatives. You think WWE is not going to follow the fucking same corporate suit that AdSense that Ad Age magazine deems the popular thing for 2021? This shows that she has no idea about marketing, in my opinion, and or the decisions of how things are made. If you're triggered from a fucking dirt sheet article where you have to come back over on social media to try and get over on some editors of the sheets. Wow, how low.
All that time, that's what I was going to ask you. This was not a shoot promo interview on TV that could help get her over to start some business. This was literally her looking at a person that could quite possibly have less than 100 followers on social media. Mm-hmm. And she went into a novel about this. And I'm telling you, that wasn't a one-take write-up. She was sitting there, as most of them do. She had to delete stuff. She had to look at it a couple times. This took probably a good hour or two to respond. You spent that much energy on that. Dude, what is all this stuff where, first of all, we don't know. She came back as a babyface, and now she's acting like a heel. She always acted like a heel, so she doesn't even know her character. Then you have this. You have Mia Yim denouncing her own gimmick on social media. You have these people that are so afraid. This is why nobody draws anymore, because everybody's actually afraid to be the heel that they're supposed to be presented on TV.
I will happily be that.
No, but I mean, they're just like, maybe it's just a generational thing. Maybe it's just the era, because we were alive before social media. So we understand what we need to do on a, chop wood, carry water type thing, rather than throw it out there and completely not isolate yourself to be like I say, even a Warrior to an extent at the end of his life was on social media or YouTube. Warrior still had a mystique. Savage always kept the mystique. Mm-hmm. Hogan's destroyed his. So you look at those and you just see certain people. I mean, there's even certain guys from the era before me that never really embraced social media. Like even Ron Bass, who I was very good friends with, rest in peace. He never really engaged in social media much. So Ron Bass always, even though I love the guy to death, and he was so like warm-hearted and open and disarming and loved cats just like I did. When I see a picture of Ron Bass, I still think about this Texas kick-ass guy that's pretty scary. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They all kill their mystique.
Yes.
Totally.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not going to have a career after they're done.
And then to try and show how smart they are, like what the Al Gore's internet thing to me is just like, oh, you're done here. Thanks for playing. So we'll see. The reason why she's really hot is because her creative is back and forth, because they bring her back with Asuka, and now she's telling her dad to go home and get out of her life and being a heel against a babyface. Meanwhile, we're trying to make him a baby face, but he's doing heel things to fuck over Charlotte, who's being a cunt to him so he can bang the other hot blonde. And then Charlotte's tag champs with Asuka, the biggest female baby face. So I think that's all of her own frustration being, just being put on these fucking nameless dirt sheet shit writers, and her exposing herself as not a star.
I'm telling her right now. I mean, first of all, when you go that hard at somebody and for that long to explain yourself, you're proving their point kind of right. Like you said, she's lashing out at them because they hit a nerve. The second thing is, I can see them punishing her by, you're with Andrade. So you know what? We're going to make you make out with somebody else on TV. We're going to put you in a relay. Oh, you want to be with my father bring Lacey Evans as like a husband on. They're going to make her even more uncomfortable on TV because that's how they get off. Now you sold hard for them. And you don't think, like you said, they rib her own father, who's a complete legend in the business. They made him into a rib. So you think you're immune to that?
And whatever that dig is, 18 months of looking at the lights, is that a shot at Becky and then leaving to go have a kid? Or is that a shot at Ronda Rousey and then fucking Ronda's fucking gone too? So women's revolution, we're all together, girl power. Until
somebody's in the chat room too about Mike Sharp. Mike Sharp, for even though losing almost every match back in the day, still has more mystique around him. It still looks like somebody like, dude, I don't want to mess with that guy.
And then he'll wash his hands of you afterwards.
He'll get locked up at the Garden. Well, you know what? That's what made wrestling unique, because he was unique.
Yeah, you need freaks in the freak show. Update on Eric Rowan's future with AEW. As reported earlier, former WWE superstar Eric Rowan, aka Eric Redbeard, has not signed a contract with AEW, and his appearance during the Brody Lee Celebration of Life edition of AEW was a one-off deal. During tonight's AEW Dynamite post-show, Tony Schiavone confirmed that Rowan was not yet a member of the AEW roster. He said, I believe Eric's appearance only came on the tribute show to his former tag partner. However, Schiavone did not rule out the possibility of Redbeard returning to AEW. Then again, I say, but who knows? He might show up tomorrow. So, as noted, Rowan recently got a new tattoo in memory of Brody Lee. The tattoo features a sledgehammer similar to the ones Rowan and Harper used when they were the Bludgeon Brothers in WWE. The hammer reads Brodir on top of it, which is Old Norse for brother. So, I mean, that definitely helps a lot of people getting those memorial tattoos. I hope it helps him move forward in his healing process. And I think there is a spot for him there. I'm not really up on them bringing in more people. I saw they want to sign Jay White and all these guys who are not going to get over. But I think Rowan could fit in, just on the connection alone in the Dark Order. I think it wouldn't be a bad guy to sign and bring in and really make that the babyface stable it could be. And I would give him a pet spider. Yeah.
Did he get released from WWE?
Oh yeah. He's been.
I'm sorry.
No, he released back to WrestleMania, dude. After in that calling.
Oh, you know what? That guy showed me something when he turned heel on Daniel Bryan and he cut those promos. I don't know why they didn't run with that, because he was doing. Remember we talked about Owen Russo? He did just a little business that was really good, and he could talk. He could talk about that, and he actually displayed kind of like the same thing what Brody did as leader of the Dark Order, about being, this big guy, but also the intellect and to be able to lead and to be able to be smarter than most people. That was a good little tryout. Tony Khan should look at those promos he cut on SmackDown and say, yeah, that's a good fit. I would agree with that. And for everything, if you want to pay tribute to Brody that way by just having his partner be the new leader, it's a better fit than anything else that I see.
I mean, even if Colt Cabana is the new leader and he's the big muscle to Colt Cabana, you know what I mean? Just to be on the outside and doing that stuff. He was, I think after the release WWE, I think he took the summer off because he was a bit doughy and out of shape. And, not like, the memorial show is my chance to get a spot, for my brother. I don't want to paint it that way, but everybody is always judging in wrestling too. And if he looked like $1 million, they might have signed him right there too. But that's not really a good look of how you want to come off on something that's so meaningful to worry about a contract. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen. And I hope it does for him, because he has a lot more to offer than anything WWE's seen. And in fact, I'd bring him back. I'd have him go to the ring on a forklift.
You got to bring the forklift driver in. I was going to say too that, of course, dude, if you and I were going to be on TV and we had any kind of notice, we're going to look our best, because you don't want to be somebody that, he used to look good or he used to look like he was in shape. Of course he takes pride in that. It's not the audition for the job. It's because as a public figure or somebody that's going to be on TV, you want to do the spot that you're given justice to. You know, that's what I look at.
Well, that's where you guys got it all wrong. See, I stayed in terrible shape for like 10 years. So now as I'm getting better, when they see me, every time they see me, like, wow, Hamin looks like he's in better shape. That was never, I mean, I could go back the other way, but you guys started out too good. That was your problem. If you would have got over looking like shit.
That's why you're the worker in this career. That's why I'm retired and you're still out.
Yeah, that's why I'm on TV every week. I can't wait for Ben to lose it about Marco's stunt today. Holy shit. Yeah, that's not even up there. I'm not sure if there's a Marco stunt story, but what you mean off of that, him going off on something or not. But last night, I couldn't believe that it was Marco Stunt and Jungle Boy versus FTR, and they pulled 12 minutes. They couldn't. FTR, the top guys, couldn't beat the fucking two greenest, smallest indie guys in under 12 minutes. Should have folded them up and packaged them and sent them back, bro. It was an embarrassment to wrestling last night. That was crazy. We'll talk about that on AEW. I know there was some other Marco Stunt stuff. I'm not sure. But
I think that's probably what they're talking about. I didn't see it, but
just because I tweeted about it, I was like, are you kidding me? The guys who are the top guys to give a good rub or whatever it was, the challenge, they were gonna do the 20-minute challenge, that's out the window. You know, I gave my laundry list after Cody gave his A+ or his A rating to AEW's first year on the Monday locker room. I also left off of that if you guys want a really good one for an A rating. Make sure you leave your world title at Tumbleweed Steakhouse or whatever it was, Texas Longhorns, in the first week you win it. That was another one we left off the list for that A rating. Good looks, everybody.
Are we in the participation trophy era right now? Yeah. Are we going to have A+, and then if they make it a third year, A++? Because that's the only place you can go.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Red Rider Compass in a stock. I've never heard such great prose. A+, Ralphie, plus. And speaking of Ralphie going to be Peter Billingsley is going to be on Stevie Ray TV as well. So more huge guests coming to Stevie Ray TV tonight. You guys, you're watching this live 7 Central, 8 Eastern. We're hooked up with Impact. It's going to be Sammy Callahan and Eddie Edwards with Stevie Ray in the world's most dangerous debate. Stevie Ray is the moderator. So we'll see if anybody gets fruit bootied or slapjacked, but a great partnership. We're super excited about the launch with Stevie Ray TV through HMG brand, MSG doing great work with them. Rick Vickery helping out wherever he can. And now he's got new projects. But yeah, this is an open door with Impact and Stevie Ray TV. So we're excited to be facilitating and doing everything we need to do production-wise. And you guys can share that and tune in tonight. That would be huge. Follow every channel. It'll be on Twitch and YouTube, Stevie Ray TV, and the new social media Twitter account is up there too. So MSK has made their WWE NXT debuts. MSK tag team, formerly known as the Rascals in Impact Wrestling, is made up of Wes Lee and Nash Carter. Lee's foreman Desmond Xavier, and Carter is Zach Wentz. WWE recently filed the trademarks of both of their ring names. Those are stupid names, Wes Lee and Nash Carter. Especially when you got a Keith Lee already. Why would you have a Wes Lee? Stupid as fuck. Tonight's show saw MSK debut with a win over Isaiah Swerve Scott and Jake Atlas in the first round of the 2021 Men's Classic. So right out of the way, they're wrestling, doing high spots, doing whatever needs to be done. These guys were great in Impact. I really hope big success for them. But let's get back to the stoner gimmick even, bro. That 70s show circle thing they were doing was great. Let's find something new. Doesn't have to be that knockoff that we can do that's a nostalgia way and reinvent it for them and give them a piece of character instead of just doing all the flips and shit that don't mean anything. They really got over with character in the ring. I don't know if they're doing this gimmick still there, the Spanky thing.
What does the MSK stand for?
I forget. I saw it earlier in Twitter. Maybe somebody's got it in the feed, but I'm not sure what it stands for yet.
Oh, Wesley.
Yeah.
They come up with these names. Even Dolph Ziggler still is like, why would you just not go back to Nick Nemeth?
Mm-hmm.
So crazy. They just want to own everything, and they sit around and they think of these names that are so Bruce and Vince. You know, the hunters should have a little bit more control over this, but no. I mean, it's just whatever. I don't know why you get guys out of the gate and then you end up having to reset them too. And we're finally going to go back. Even Shane Strickland. Why didn't you just keep his name Shane Strickland? You've been doing just to have it to where it's what it is. The horse is out of the barn. People know, we acknowledge it. So why don't we just stop fighting this uphill battle and just have them be who they are?
This ownership of because they're not going to make them into stars. They said they've not. So why are you worried about taking that property if you're not going to make them into a mega star where they can come back and screw you over later? Wesley, you think fucking people are going to be going crazy?
Oh my God. Is it MSK really stand for must see kids?
Yeah, I believe it. The must see.
That has a real double entendre. Oh my God. Are you going to have Hunter Biden as your manager going forward?
Unbelievable.
Must see kids. Was Vince walking around like looking for the daycare center going, must see kids?
I must see some kids. I need some adrenochrome. God damn it. WWE senior producer teases upcoming WWE Network project. Senior producer Steve Conoscenti recently spoke with Andy Malinowski of wrestling.
Like NXT names.
I know. They're going to tag together soon. The Polish Irish or Polish Italian connection to discuss his latest project with WWE Network, specifically the upcoming Beth Phoenix documentary for the WWE Icon series. Consenti recently shot footage in Elmira, New York, the Glamazon's hometown. Oh, I forget she's from Elmira, man. My biggest draw ever is when we had the 6-man with Hacksaw and AJ was on the show, Mickey was on the show in Elmira. Speaking of the docu-series, Consenti says it's important to film in specific cities that have strong connections to their interview subjects. We're doing a series on WWE Network called WWE Icons. It's a story of people, not just as a wrestler. So we're here in Elmira and to capture the essence of Beth Phoenix's upbringing. She's done so much in Elmira. She was an athlete in school. She talks about how she loved growing up here. It was important for us to show instead of just say it. I like that they're going to, the 2CW territories and showing that Beth's over because you live in upstate New York. You're a chop wood, carry water motherfucker. Because right now, this winter isn't shit. And I probably just jinxed us by saying that. But, I've seen it snow 4 and 5 feet in less than 2 days. It's just crazy shit. So we're kind of cut from a different cloth where we all get it up here a little bit. And upstate New York is probably the number one place on the planet for toxicity, for human toxicity of fuck you, you fucking scumbag. we always act like we're together, but the reality is people love watching other people fall around here. I.e., look what they've tried to do to Triple D, one of the nicest families that serves their community, and they'll still fucking, you motherfucker, how dare you have a nicer truck than me? See, you weren't shit the whole time. Meanwhile, Triple D would be like, hey, dude, you want me to come over and ply your driveway for free? That motherfucker, he's just coming to show off his truck. Like, that's the mentality of like 70% of the people in upstate New York, dude. They're fucking psychos. So to survive up here and to be able to make it out of a lot of people who are so quick-tongued, sharp-witted haters who want to bring you down, that only drives people like me to greatness, and obviously Beth as well. So they love the sports and they love to gather around it. But believe me, if Beth Phoenix, when she got let go or whatever happened to her, there were people in Elmira fucking going, see, she ain't shit. But those same people will be on camera in this documentary going, I remember Beth, she sat next to me in study hall. She was one of my best friends. She was so sweet the whole time. And they're pissed that this is being made. But I got a lot of respect for Beth Phoenix. Obviously came up at OVW, whether I was kind of her young boy a couple times, her and Melina Roca. I would do the drives with them while they were getting ready. And, I just saw awesome matches with her, ODB, Katie Lee, and Serena, all that going on. I saw her whole rise to the Glamazon becoming something really big. So I always got a soft spot for her, and she's always been cool to me. And then she's with Edge. And when Edge came to 2CW, and he and I had one of the best conspiracy talks I've ever had outside of the Horsemen, while Dreamer and Rhino just kind of sat there with their jaws dropped listening to what Edge and I were going back and forth about for an hour and a half. So, a lot of time for both of them as well as that goes. And I'm glad they're shining her still.
So they will go to Elmira, New York, which is fine, but
Yeah.
they won't go outside the arena in Tampa to do any kind of stuff for the live show.
Right.
Okay.
I got to believe here's part of that. This producer is probably in Stamford, isn't shit going on. He might be from New York guy too. He might even live in New York instead of Connecticut. Is going, fuck this. I got to get out of the house. I'm going to go do a Beth Phoenix documentary. Like, it's been on the table. So he's like, I'm just going to go to Elmira and do what I got to do. And if you ever been
They're
to
just doing their own thing, like they're not being told, and they're doing their own little projects on the side. And WWE goes, okay, fine. We'll promote it.
Right. The meth in Elmira, I don't think is as strong as it is in Binghamton. So if you want to go to one or the other armpits in New York State, Elmira or Binghamton will get it done for you. Elmira's got way more money than Binghamton does. I'll say that. Ricochet possibly still has not signed a new WWE contract, Stevie. He's possibly still not signed. There seems to be a lot of rumors and speculation on Ricochet's future. We talked about this on Raw and SmackDown Review too. It's now believed that Ricochet still hasn't signed a new contract. He originally inked a 3-year deal in January 2018, but it's believed that his contract is expiring soon. The Raw superstar is often featured on Main Event these days, but rarely gets booked in wins on Monday nights. His recent feud with Mustafa Ali on Retribution on Raw has really come of that. Nothing's really come of that storyline. Ricochet has been featured on pay-per-view, special events, and super showdowns in February 2020, where he then lost to WWE champ Brock Lesnar. And his last appearance before that was the 2020 Royal Rumble match. So I'm sure he'll be in the Rumble as a filler unless he's got COVID or unless he's done. But we talked about them beating the shit out of him, trying to get him to be part of Retribution for 6 weeks. And then when they could have used him on the run-in against Xavier Woods in the perfect spot, nowhere to be found. So was Woods just put in for Ricochet week 8 beatdown and not that as well? It's just, we needed another black guy, put him in there.
Sounds like it. What's he waiting for? I guess he's going to go or try to go to AEW or maybe even Impact. But what's the guaranteed money that we're looking at outside of WWE and AEW? Is New Japan really paying that much? I don't know what the landscape is where you're going to make that kind of money. And now you are working 1 day a week for WWE. It's not a road show. It's not going to be a road show anytime soon. And as somebody said, he's making like $250, whatever he's making. It's for less work than you're ever going to do. Sure, they're screwing you, but nobody's getting over. So are you willing to get paid half that money at AEW possibly and just be just as over, or just as much exposure and get a free Jacksonville Jaguars ticket every week? It's about the only thing you're going to get.
Can we just officially say that the women's revolution, evolution, and the indie hires of Gulak, Ricochet, Finn Balor, TJP, all that, because that's when those guys were just going out there and killing every style with get your shit in nonsense. And themselves. All that is what has led us to this tragic lowest point of wrestling, where they tried to emulate what was going to happen in the indies and NXT and AEW, sold out their whole integrity, and then also pushed this women's push that came through, the ad world as a way to do that. Now, in the wake of all that, it's all exposed. Nobody's over. We're back to light sexuality, women that nobody wants to see and look at voluptuously. Japanese, and then ding dong. So with terrible promos that nobody wants to hear their voices, I'd rather go stand in line at Walmart and listen to some dumb book yaks fucking talk back and forth at this point than listen to another senseless WWE promo or Carmella with a sommelier drinking Moscato. Fuck out of here.
That'll get the people in Arkansas and Alabama to really tune in. Hey, here's what I'm going to say too about that. If they were so over, if the women's revolution, if the indie style, if the strong style or wrong style, as you call it, was so over, why did they wheel out the legends 4 times in the past year?
Right.
Why did they keep going back to Orton, who's the best worker in the company and the best, as slow and as plotty or whatever it is? Orton's been consistently pushed and over and at least somewhat interesting and legitimate. That's the word I'm looking for. Has credibility. When you watch Orton, you're like, okay, that's an athlete. That's a wrestler. That guy could probably kick my ass. And he seems like he's a little off too, because he's fucking burning shit twice a year. He resisted one time, which has some humanity, I guess. But in all seriousness, why do you think I felt, at least in my opinion, that at least the Triple H Orton thing gave us the history, the callbacks, gave us something to look forward to at the end, and the street fight looked like two men fighting to some degree. Sure, it was veiled because Hunter's not in wrestling shape and you had to do what you had to do. But those guys, the pacing they moved and the way they sold and all that stuff looked at least like, okay, this is two men fighting, and I'm interested to kind of see where this goes. If that were the case and all your indie darlings and your women and all these other things were drawing, you wouldn't need those two things to lean on as a safety net multiple times per year. Hunter wouldn't even have been called. We don't need you. They're drawing fine. We'll put AJ in that spot, right? No.
And now AJ's with Big Ninja. That isn't getting over, with Gulak looking up his leg and shit to get over. And that's all heat from AJ's kid being on Twitch going, I don't like WWE. I don't watch that shit.
4V Cam's in the chat, by the way.
Yeah, I see him in there. 4V Cam, the propaganda master.
Hey, here's the thing with Orton. Okay. Now, I look at it as a worker, and I look at it as him making the most out of what he has. Sure, people can consider it to be boring and consider it to be whatever. And of course, the machine has been pretty much 80% of why Orton has stayed over for the past 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
But that's everybody. That's Hogan. That's everybody you saw as a legend was controlled by the office to be pushed. I just look at it as the bar is set so low that when I do see something that is, what's the word I'm looking for? It's the all reliable. I mean, you can look at that literally if you want to. Him and Triple H, you know what you're going to get, and at least it's going to be better what I've been getting.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Well, I mean, the bar's set so low when you get even a little taste of something that tastes like steak. It might not be filet mignon, but it sure fucking feels like that in your mouth after you've been eating Soylent Green. Shout out for VKM, obviously a Timbo Slice in the house too, but for VKM, feel free to go back to the top of this show. There's some good Val Venus, Hunter Biden stuff, and what we re-billboarded from last night, recapped with Pat Miletich, and that show will be up tomorrow with Pat being at the Capitol building. I'm not sure if you were able to tune in last night. I don't think I saw you in there, but just awesome content here at HMG with my Conspiracy Horseman brothers, in the last 24 hours. So appreciate everybody tuning in. We're 47 strong here at Ben Hamin YouTube channel, Hamin Media Group YouTube channel, and he's telling us to get on Gab. What was the one last night? Rockfin, and we're on BitChute. I think GGP's on Grindr.
Video, another one.
Yeah, band video. So right now we've got El Plaja, the propaganda master, kind of getting those things set up for us. Appreciate that, and on all hands on deck, man. But you're doing great work. Keep doing your thing, fighting the fight, and using your artwork to enlighten and ask questions. I'm not trying to tell you to end your own art project, but we, instead of painting Vince McMahon as a white hat, we might need you in other ways now as a propaganda artist to fucking really strike back in the best way we know how.
I'd love to get him back on with me there this time to talk about, first of all, how I'm a part of all this because he put me in the video. But also, the CIA money check hasn't cleared yet, but also the update, because this long game has been played out way too long, and we're not seeing what we had hoped for. In January 20th, we thought it was going to be November 5th. We thought it was going to be January 6th. Now we're looking at January 20th. If that passes, I'd love to get his opinion on what he predicts will be will it be in April or May or 2024? Will we have to see everything completely fall in a tribulation type era to see it go? We'll see. We're in the fight 100% too. We are. We just want to know. We just want to know because we feel like sometimes we we believed in the wrong horses in the race at this point.
Yeah.
Got to be honest.
Mm-hmm. Dominique Oliphant checking in from work, stocking those liquor shelves. Put away a bottle of bourbon for me, brother. I looked over this morning. I go, is 8:30 too early to start drinking bourbon? Like I had that thought this morning. I was like, maybe we'll tie one on early today, but nah, we'll keep it straight until we get through all the editing we have to do. Thursday, a huge show day of editing here, getting everything ready Friday, and we'll be back with the AEW show at 1:00 too, with 1:15 with MSG and the birthday boy Chris Silvio back in action, guys.
We'll be recording with Matt too for Career Junkie Podcast at 11 a.m.
Awesome. So, yeah, he was pumped about that. He was pumped about that. Well, he's definitely got the chops of the executive producer now, and what he's doing with brand development with Stevie Ray TV and running everything in Denver at the TV station. Should be a very, very cool opportunity for both you guys. Absolutely. WWE recently passed on signing ROH World Champion Rush. According to closest source situation, WWE passed on signing Rush because his asking price was too high. That's probably why they haven't called me to. Rush was represented by AAA in the negotiations. WWE reportedly made an offer that was lower than expected, continuing a trend that the company lowballing signed and unsigned talent. ROH announced that they had signed Rush to a deal on January 15th, 2019. Rush went on to defeat Matt Taven for his first ROH championship that September at Death Before Dishonor. It's believed that ROH has re-signed Rush, or that they have come to terms on a new deal. Rush last wrestled in Final Battle 2020 and defeated Brody King. The finish of the match saw Rush's brother Dragon Lee. Jesus, how many Lees we got out here? And his father, La Bestia del Ring, interfered to allow Rush to secure his victory. Sounds like ROH is looking to Mexico and Japan to fill these spots, and there's people leaving ROH, so that's strange to me too, of like what's really going on over there, to keep any type of semblance of organization of where it's going. But I have never watched a Rush match. I'm sure he's phenomenal.
Well, for his sake, as a fellow talent, I hope that ROH didn't know that WWE lowballed him, so he can get as much out of them as he can. Because once they know that, if they're real businessmen, they're gonna offer $1 more than the WWE offer, to make it look like more. But it's a tough thing when you go and you ask for a certain price, and WWE will give you, I don't know. I don't even know if he's aware of what Vince called Ray back in the day, and if that's the way it was presented. Like they're so, I don't know.
I'm at 600,000. Where are you at?
What's that?
I'm at 600,000. Where are you at?
599, 999.
Okay.
Well, actually, I told you before. Here's the difference between this almost 50-year-old man who was on the road for almost 30 years. I'd take 300 if you let me live in a cabin in the woods and you guarantee it for longer.
Oh yeah. Mine's 600 with 300,000 up front. No. Mine
would be. Well, why don't you try to like if you go. Like mine's 600,000, 300 up front, and Vince goes, God damn it, what about 500 with 200 up front? Okay, well, what about 600 with 400? And he'll go 600 with 700 guaranteed. Like you used the Jedi mind trick on him.
Yeah. I think it'll be good. We'll get a young writer in there. We'll go back and forth. Vince McMahon. Yeah, that's me, pal. Counter sues. That's right. We're going to counter sue. That's a new pay-per-view. Former XFL commissioner Oliver Luck, and guess how much Vince is asking for, Stevie?
600,000, 300 guaranteed.
The second iteration of the XFL went out in a blaze of glory. I still gotta send you your Christmas present. I just been not at the post office.
China owns the XFL, don't they?
Now, yeah, with The Rock. The fallout continues from the league shutting down operations at the start of the pandemic. Former XFL Commissioner Oliver Luck was fired back in April, and just 2 days before the league filed for bankruptcy. Luck then sued Vince McMahon 2 weeks later for wrongful termination. McMahon was fired back by countersuing Luck this week. The countersuit, which was filed in Connecticut, Stamford, Connecticut, was obtained by USA Sports Today, claimed that Luck defied McMahon's orders when it came to hiring personnel for the league. When the XFL was restarted, McMahon said the player pool would include quality football players with good character. However, luck allowed former NFL receiver Antonio Callaway to be a part of the player pool despite his past character issues. Meanwhile, sidebar, McMahon is signing Lars Sullivan, who buries his company, gets his cock sucked on camera, and then he puts him on TV. I think we're done here. We know what happened with the rest of the XFL. McMahon is asking for $572,792.10. So $500,000.
He's just like, that's a number drawn out of the end at 10 cents. That'll put
that's my 10 cents. Well, I'm going to put my 10 cents. It's 2 cents, sir. 10 cents. McMahon, are you going to play this game forever, Oliver? You know there's no chance in hell for Manziel to play for us. I will not change my mind. So what's your plan? Luck. Vince, we have no intention of signing him, none whatsoever. We're just milking the story to say in the news. I'm happy to categorically rule him out, but both Jeffrey Pollock and I think this is worthwhile to milk it until the showcases.
Wait a minute, this is Vince. This is what's this? Direct quote from Vince conversation?
Back and forth between him and Luck.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
It's all right. At this point, we can say he doesn't fit into our plans. Also in the suit, McMahon accused Luck of leaving the league's Connecticut headquarters to return to his home in Indiana on March 13th. That was the day after the league canceled the remainder of the season due to the pandemic. After March 13th, Luck and McMahon had no direct contact. McMahon claims Luck missed several league meetings as well. So, it's another attempt to deflect from it. One thing I wanted to go back to, because it was dropped, and we went over it in Val Venus calling out The Rock and Arnold Schwarzenegger. And I see everybody putting over that Schwarzenegger promo, and there's 4 spots in there where he starts talking truth, and then he goes into Hollywood mode to pluck people's nostalgia strings, whether it's the Conan sword or whatever he's talking about, that derives from the direct path of truth of events that are going on. And this is where they are mixing The Rock in and Schwarzenegger, these heroes that they make in Hollywood that are a figure in Nancy Brown's mind that will come in and save the world at the 11th hour. So when they endorse Biden and they defame Trump, when the reality is they're rubbing fucking elbows with them together, that empowers those people that, hey, we've got The Rock and Conan on our side, who are little soy boy pussies who would never throw a punch in their lives. Meanwhile, these guys are just run by the gay mafia and corrupt Hollywood, so they can either make a move on the presidency, and they've been promised that through some quid pro quo, or like it's all the theater of the absurd. So Val Venus is absolutely directly right on it when he says the China sellouts, because Hollywood's been bought out by him. XFL interest as well to dump it off on The Rock. And then The Rock, a known conservative, Arnold Schwarzenegger, a known conservative, both flip on a fucking dime within a month of the election and the fucking month after. Come on, dude. If you I know everybody listening now is smarter than that because you're an HMG avid listener, but these Nancy Browns in your family got to be fucking $5 face slapped to the reality. And the truth is, they already know it. They know they're being worked, and they still take a bite out of the fucking apple, Eve.
As crazy as they come off sometimes, you got to go and find the Isaac Cappy Instagram live videos where he exposes the very people that The Rock, Schwarzenegger, Batista are all dealing with over there and getting over with, and able to do all this stuff within what you called, I mean, it could be the satanic gay mafia. You can double up. This is Bohemian Grove. This is ritualistic stuff. This is spirit cooking stuff. This is crazy stuff that they're tied up with.
Atheistic Satanism. I mean, I know that doesn't sound like it in their minds because I don't believe in Satan or any of that bullshit Wicca stuff as a Hitchens level atheist, but they are atheists who don't believe in God and then follow satanic law. I'm like, what type of dumb little fucking Halloween, the craft bullshit do you girls need to keep doing out here?
Well, I said it before about Clinton when people go, oh, the adrenochrome, the child's blood, or the all this stuff. Whether you believe in it or not, or you believe it has any kind of power, or you believe that, or whatever result or whatever, the real danger is the people that do believe in it and act on the belief. Just like any religion. I'm a Christian man, but the Catholic religion and Christians throughout history and Catholicism and other terms of religion can be very weaponized and dangerous, not because the tenets of what it has in there are weaponized or dangerous, but the people's belief and then their follow-up in the action of the belief in a very, very toxic, negative, destructive, murderous way is the real danger.
Mm-hmm.
The faith is not the danger, but the application of man-made religion is.
Using the faith to justify the action is the problem. Are you listening, Billy Christian?
But the Isaac Cappy videos, which, by the way, somehow jumped off a bridge and got hit by a truck.
There's a shocker.
And so many other people that have spoken out, like Val, quite frankly, could be in danger if he pokes the wrong bear.
Definitely is. He already is. Yeah, come on, Val. Hello. Rendition site.
I've been in the ring with Val, so his work punches hurt like fucking hell. So if he's going to hit somebody for real, this is the thing too. At wrestling, we're speaking in the wrestling way. Let's talk about the Mick Foley of all things wanting to throw the president out of the Hall of Fame, because that's really important right now compared to insurrection and everything else. When we talk, and we've dealt with this directly and indirectly, whenever we talk, the bubble of wrestling, say if you talk about The Rock or Batista or Mick Foley or anybody like that, and they look at Val, or they especially look at us too, like, well, those guys were never in the main event. So what's their opinion about the real world mean? They never got a fake push or a fake title in wrestling, so they can't be smart. They equate your value as a human being and your value as intellectual human beings by your fake push in wrestling. And that's really the complaints on Twitter from fans are probably like, well, you're not as over as The Rock. Why are you calling him out? Am I wrong?
Absolutely, because I see the order of events, and I'm not going to be the wrong one to go, well, then why, if this, then why that? Well, here's the 5 reasons it could be, and none of them are justifiable. So Batista can keep going, getting all the fucking little Illuminati tattoos he wants, dressing with a midriff out, and probably blowing guys on couches like Lars Sullivan does to get his next fucking Guardians of the Galaxy spot, because that's the reality of what they got these fucking guys doing. So do you?
Somebody asked why Val got so small looking. He was running for a marathon and training differently, and his diet was different, but I mean, you see, it's because of how big he got when he was on TV too. Is more like, you shouldn't even ask that question. You know the answer.
We're all B12. Raw viewership down 14.5% from the 2.128 million for the Legends night. Triple H and Orton end up drawing 1.8 million on average. Down, like I said, 14.5%, number 38. No surprise there. I'm actually shocked that it a 1.8. I thought they were going 1.6. Just watch it come crashing down. But Network USA can't be happy with that. You know what I mean? They, again, the pass the buck. Oh, the Legends are here, so that buys them a week. And then you think we're back to business on the road to the Royal Rumble, and Drew's on the shelf, so we got to do Band-Aid on a broken leg with Game and Orton. Yeah, it's good, but it's still not the overarching storyline that we need for weekly TV. And once they're down, I mean, if you were down under double digits, you can kind of get away with it. When they see 14%, that's a big sweep week to week, man.
They're not going to do anything to change it. USA would literally need to threaten their existence on the network and breach the contract and even say, here's 30 million because you're costing us much more by being on for 3 hours every Monday, or cut them down to 2 or cut them down to 1. They will maximize that hour the best they can, because I feel like right now the 3 hours gives them the excuse to not be as creative. When you have tons of talent, you have tons of writers that are still 27 writers, maybe 20 at this point with the cutbacks, and you can't create that. You can't book a month out and then the next week start booking that 5 week, 6 week. You can't stay ahead of anything. It's really quite maddening, and it's all because of Vince rewriting the show the day of.
Yeah, and 3 hours is devastating when you got to put Keith Lee in 4 segments and expect him to carry the fucking ball. it's not gonna work out well for you. So 1.8 next week. There's no tricks up their sleeve, and they'll be coming off NFL competition. Plus, there was a big football game that they are claiming. Oh, the NCAA got them again, boy. Write something that's must-see TV.
That was a blowout too.
The blowout.
Now they're using it as an excuse. But then when they're actually a great game, they make no mention of Monday Night Football. So it's
Vince is Raw before VCAM says Raw 9/11 back in the day. Vince is hoping for weekly terrorist attacks and people to die now so they can do memorial shows to spike the numbers. Like, you think he's going to start having people killed? Who knows? Again,
get around to the Brody Lee tribute finally because he needs the ratings.
Yeah, might need it. Might get to it. Carl Anderson claims Triple H really hated the too sweet whoop whoop chants. Anderson and Gallows shocked the wrestling world last week by appearing at the end of AEW Dynamite to help Omega attack Moxley. This moment was made even bigger when the Young Bucks came down to hit the too sweet with them, even though they missed the camera cut, seemingly reuniting these former Bullet Club members. But Machine Gunka talks about Triple H. He says our contractual obligations are to Impact. We made a surprise debut on AEW. In my mind, it shocked the world. People probably thought it was coming. Social media was going nuts. To say that it was fun and long overdue is an understatement. I still wish it would have happened last year, 2019, but to do it where we were and to have a live crowd of rabid AEW fans or plants and having them chant too sweet, which started in WWE for some reason, which Hunter hated. He really hated the too sweet whoop whoop. I'm not saying I love the sound of it, but at least they did. So Game trying to Game hates Bullet Club because Bullet Club's a rib on the fucking click. So even too sweet whoop whoop gets fucking Game's ire up. So if you want to fuck with Triple H, or WWE, if we ever get back to the arenas without even having Good Brothers on the show, or if Triple H books himself in a main event in WrestleMania again, get that too sweet whoop whoop chant going. I think that'd be a good ass rib from the crowd.
Oh my God. Did it really shock the world?
It shocked them.
I'm not saying like to be mean or anything, but I know you want to play it up. You want to do all this stuff. Also, we go back to the Mystique. Everybody's commenting on it like they didn't even give it weeks to kind of build up to anything, right? This was like a 1 week thing where they basically, will the Bucks be with them? Will they won't, or whatever it would be. If I were Impact too, I'd be really careful because you talked before about how Luke is a politicker, a huge politicker. These guys are angling for Tony Khan money.
Big time. So
you be careful anytime there's anybody working together like this. I go back to since I'm old enough, the Super Clash 3 when NWA and AWA and I think World Class and all these plays, and NWA was trying to sign all the AWA talent in the locker room. You're going to have a problem. Tony Khan, I don't think he's a mark, but he's also not stupid. And he probably has lawyers and other people saying, this is what we need to do. We need to get these guys and do whatever. And of course, overpay them. But Impact's paying them what? A couple grand a night, or
I gotta believe they're getting their 2 to 3 a night, no doubt about it. They will, but to be honest with you, I feel like this is Callis pulling the strings, even with Khan's written like heel promos on AEW, which are cringeworthy every time. You can feel it's the phoniness of Cyrus in the way he writes wrestling in this Good Brother fucking broski vernacular that's not real and exactly what we don't need in wrestling at this point. And they're playing right into it, and so is Khan. So it's going to end up being Khan versus Cyrus. Either their teams fighting
for ownership of AEW. Yeah,
it's all that, bro. They got him wound right up, and we played the great Fairy Tale from New York cover that a fan from Cornette's Cult of Cornette put out there, man, about Khan buying his friends. It's just fucking phenomenal. It's in the Hamin media discussion group, not hard to find. But truth and comedy. And that's where we are with this. And they are just picking this guy's fucking pockets, bro.
And we're the bad guys for pointing that out, by the way.
I'm the rough one. But my wife doesn't take pictures. My wives don't take pictures of me while I'm sleeping with cheater written on my face. And I don't stooge off legends to get them fired from their legends contract, only to put them over later, in our own little Ricky and Bobby fucking mark out way on our stuff, and all this shit that's really the expose of who they are. And they can be as big as they want to be and good brother as much as they want. That still doesn't make them honorable men in my eyes. WWE provides storyline update on Randy Orton attack after Alexa Bliss fireballed him. What are they saying? WWE Digital has learned that Randy Orton suffered minor burns to the face following the fireball attack. Why wouldn't you say second-degree burns, you fucking assholes? The Legend Killer laid down a challenge for Triple H at the beginning of the night and was in a battle with the game when Bliss emerged from the darkness and fucking threw fire at him. So you can go over and check out Alexa Bliss's Twitter later. I'm sure she'll be doing some makeup and eyeliner tutorials for you guys, and then next week she'll be back to being evil, and who knows when the Punky Brewster stuff's going to drop. It's going to be a great time for everybody. Tony Schiavone reveals that Sonny Kiss is currently injured. Waiting for the story to come up. I'm not sure how Sonny was injured or in what match, but this is kind of something interesting to me because, not to say one way or another, but where we are in society way with the left having pushed this agenda and AEW being on the front lines of it with, wrestling's for everybody. And then meanwhile, they've already kind of marginalized and sidelined their trans wrestler. You don't see, what's his name on TV that much. And then Sonny Kiss, who was, somewhat Velveteen Dream or Black Adrian Adonis right down the middle. They wanted to try and do this for their SJWs, but now we're back to WCW nostalgia, ECW, big guys like Hobbs and whatnot. Are we really going to go back to the let's get rid of homophobe stuff? Meanwhile, they got Snoop, Shaq, Mike Tyson. Are they marching out Sonny Kiss with them, or is Sonny Kiss done in this little experiment, much like the women's revolution in the 205 live indies come to WWE? Is this queer deer revolution over with?
Wednesday, has anybody been released besides that Tito guy that went back to NXT because he stooged off? He never really got released. He was just there once. Has anybody got released from AEW for any reason since then?
What's her name left, and then she went to Impact and left. Kylie Ray, right, under some weird circumstances. We still don't know what that was about, or what's going on at Impact either, and why she's just gone.
Well, I'd say that's her own pattern of behavior.
Matt Cardona in and out.
but on a handshake deal, a nightly deal, that's an interesting thing too. He's Cody's best friend or one of his best friends. It's kind of weird. And that's a guy that you could have done something with. I'm very, very strange. And now the Impact thing, you could have put those two guys together again with Brian Myers. Mm-hmm. So, but I'm interested. It has to come eventually where you're not just going to keep Sonny Kiss around these other people. I'm wondering if those meetings are happening where Cody, even though everybody's included and we love everybody and we're one big family, I hate hearing that in the wrestling business, but that type of thing, like how I'm sure the meetings are, man, do we get rid of these two? Do we get rid of Sonny Kiss and Nyla Rose or anybody else or whatever? How's that going to look? Even the fact you're bringing it up, that do we start letting people go? You're already going into the Carney aspect. Did we squeeze as much out of what we wanted out of this?
Yeah. Yeah, they are already. I mean, because that's the media flyby of Target bathrooms with transgenders and twerking fucking drag queens at your local library and the normalization of this shit. Well, now you got a whole class of Tea Partiers, Trumpers, and shaking up the process. Are you going to force the gay agenda on them? Because I think that's only going to blow up in their faces. At this point, the conversation is changing. And then if you were to cut Nyla Rose and Sunny Kiss, boy, don't you open yourself up. You got to cut a bunch of people at that same time. So whether it's Janela and the other ones, so it doesn't look like it's a targeted thing against, LGBTQ, where it's just not over and we don't have the marketing anymore for that.
Or here's the thing, you're losing half your audience if you go one way or the other.
Mm-hmm.
So they could be, quite frankly, at 1.5 or 2 million competing with Raw if the brand was pointing out the flaws of Raw. I always said they should go to Monday nights. They have nothing to lose by going up against Raw the way it is now. And Vince needs to fight, so they would both be at their best. But are they ready for that? Are they ready to really... They seem like they don't want to play dirty like Bischoff did, but they have to play dirty if they really wanted to succeed. They would need to... I know we say it all the time. They would need to bring Russo in because Russo knows how to hurt them. But then again, feelings, they won't bring him in because Cody turned around and called him a homophobe with no evidence whatsoever and never really even he apologized to Will to tell Vince he's sorry. Did I get that wrong?
Not even a
Will to tell Vince. So that's who you're dealing with.
I'm not dealing right now because I thought I had a spot. And now I know why they haven't called me. It's our last story of the day, Stevie. Nikki Bella.
You're going to thank God now. I know you will.
Thank you, Lord Jesus, our Savior. Nikki Bella offers.
Oh, shit. Are you serious? You had to save this for last. Oh, please, man.
Nikki Bella offers to join WWE's creative team. You guys, I've got a lot of ideas for everybody. Former two-time WWE Divas champion Nikki Bella recently spoke to Ashley Graham on a Pretty Big Deal podcast brought up possibly of joining WWE's creative team. While mentioning her brother-in-law, Daniel Bryan, recently contributions to the WWE creative process on SmackDown, Nikki said her past experiences of a full-time performer is an advantage as she knows what the people want and how she can get the best out of each woman. I mean, I would love, there's times that because Bree's husband, Daniel Bryan, is a part of the creative team and he works a lot with Vince McMahon on creative stuff. And I've always thought in the back of my head, like, would I really like to do that for the women? Because I've lived it and I was a past WWE superstar, but I'm also a fan. She added, it's like I feel like I know what the people want, and then I know how to get the best out of each woman because I know them. So it'd be a lot of fun on creative. Oh shit, man. She puts over Sasha. And Nikki has not stepped foot in the ring in WWE since her loss to Ronda Rousey at WWE Women's Evolution back in 2018. It's possible she appears as one of the surprise entrants in the upcoming Royal Rumble match. Well, she doesn't know what they want because I really wanted John Cena to turn and heel on her in the ring during the proposal that she made him do in front of everybody because they're shallow Kardashian knockoffs with no real sense of self or efficacy to protect themselves. I wanted him to heel on her there, not wait until later when he had to just say, I would rather put a 45 in my mouth than listen to this every day. So, there's that, but I say, why not? Why not bring her in and really let her do her thing? My top 5 favorite Nikki Bella storylines that echo through time have to be, what was that one? I can't remember any. I can't remember. Oh, when she got her tits redone. That was a good one.
She what?
When she got her tits redone. That was good.
I want to really be, just for one day, if we can go back to WWE, and I want to sit there like, I'll stand. We'll stand. We'll be in the corners of the conference room, and I want to see her and Dana Warrior going back and forth.
Holy shit, bro! That visual killed me right there. That just killed me.
Well, that's what you get for reading.
That killed me. That alone came over the top, bro.
Oh my! The creative team. Daniel Bryan, no offense to him, part of the creative team. a current talent being on the creative team is always going to split focus. You're never going to have the 100% thing, no matter how much help giving you are. Russo had talked about that. Kevin Nash has even talked about how that splits focus when he was booking WCW. There's so much going on. But then you take people that are so removed from reality of what fuels pro wrestling, the sexualized aspect of it, with the fighting, it's a soap opera. It really is a soap opera with over dramatized type of fights and storylines. What's that?
These guys are killing me. Imagine this, Quatch.
Oh, the new girl?
You not even that. You also get Nikki Bella, Dana Warrior, AJ Lee, and the new woman they're bringing in as creative operations from IFC.
That's the show.
But Nikki Bella also needs the bro talk, good brother talk, while doing the Kardashian talk as well, and then good sister goes up to the top rope and does the deal on her and hits her with the snabits and then kick out on one, and then Dana Warrior, what's a snabits?
I want them all to pronounce Sabada.
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 Into Sabada and Sabada.
Christ.
Dude. That was a hell of an ending story right there for your fucking news. The official
Nostradamus, because that prediction will come true and you will see it on TV.
Holy shit on a shingle, Chris Kringle. It don't get any worse than that to wrap up the mailbag for your Ultra Kayfabe Declassified Friday locker room here on Thursday at YouTube, you guys. Big Stevie Cool probably wishes Strangler Steve was back in the house.
I wanted him to hear that.
Oh, good stuff all the way around, Stevie. ForceUSA.com/Stevie and the COVID Stevie 5 as well to save yourself some cash as we get into the best physical shape we can this winter. You guys making sure we're keeping off those pounds, ready to break out this spring if we ever get back to the arenas again. Stevie, you said you guys are recording with MSG here just a little bit for your wife's podcast. What else you got going on, man?
Yeah, we're about 40 minutes away from the next Career Junkie podcast with Matt from the Hamin Media Group. We're going to talk about his job, I think, with Sinclair Broadcasting too, right? He works looking at all the affiliates there. Other than that, you can see ForceUSA.com/Stevie. They were nice enough to give me a vanity URL to kind of make it a little bit easier, because in these trying hard times where you have to imagine that creative meeting, you don't want to take an extra step to save money on gym equipment. It's also not fitness may have the same URL soon. You can also go to steverichardsfitness.com for the resistance band training program. God knows we need every bit of strength we can get just to get through the headlines and everything else going on. So that's about it. We and also, as you can tell, these are our businesses, because we've pretty much truthfully talked ourselves out of every other job that we could.
I'm fine with it, because we sit here on the hill and time vindicates us every single time. We haven't come up short on anything yet. And I'm not trying to say that in a cocky way. It's just the lens we see the world through, and we expose the bullshit artists of what they're trying to do to politics.
We don't live in denial of our brands nor theirs. We see the flaws in our stuff right now too, and we're working every day to try to improve them. But we don't sit here and try to tell you we got it all figured out either.
Not even a little bit, as my brain is chopped up into 14 different segments. As Hamin Media Group plugs into Stevie Ray TV, please join us tonight, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern, for the debate, the world's most dangerous debate between Eddie Edwards and Sami Callihan before Hard to Kill, with Stevie Ray in the middle. So it should be a great night tonight there. MSG doing big work today all the way around for us. Rip Rogers podcast is out. I had some new signups on patreon.com/Hamin Media Group. Got to talk to Mondo today about him and I doing a show possibly for that. Got my brother Hoopdullah the Butcher coming on Patreon this weekend to talk project management, team management, as he handles huge kayfabe government accounts, and I'll try and expose him a little bit. Now people have been able to see or hear my brother, so I'm excited to my shoot brother, not just my wrestling brothers, to hear his genius, man, because I learn a lot from my little brother when it comes to that stuff, man. Russo brand, there's new videos up there. Stevie and I and Jeff uploading stuff all the time, as well as two-man power trip. So plenty of micro content going that way. And we're just going to keep pushing forward the rest of the week, you guys. You know where to get at me, at @bin_Hamin on Twitter, Hacker Hamin on Instagram. It's all going down. So follow everything we got going as the platform ever changes. Appreciate you guys sticking with us and finding us. ProWrestlingTees.com/BinHamin. Heels over strong shirt infidels. Rock it if you can. It's the Friday locker room. Big Stevie Cool, Hacker Hamin. Yallah.